This is the 4-month review.
Yes.
4-month review.
All right, Drew.
All right, Ann.
Let's talk about our last 4 months that we have been on the road. Here we go.
Why did we start full-timing RV, Ann?
Which is a question a lot of people ask out in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to go full-time. We don't have kids, and we just wanted to make sure we could enjoy ourselves. We're in our 40s, not getting any younger.
Correct. And it was one of those things that, we were just working for more things that we realized we didn't need so much, and we'd rather experience things and see people and friends than just accumulate more stuff for garage sales later on in life.
Right. So that is the main reason why we decided to start going full-timing. And it's one of those things, once we make a decision, we go for it.
We do.
We go fast.
We did think about it for a while. You make it sound like we just quickly did it, but
no.
We did. We put it in action quickly, but we did a lot of research prior to make sure it was a lifestyle that we hoped we could enjoy. Not knowing for sure, but we hoped we could.
Right.
We bought the coach used in Texas.
Yep.
And
Consignment.
we rapidly moved it quickly up to Cape Cod, where all the stuff that we couldn't live without, like clothes and Jimmy's toys, were.
Instant Pot.
Picked up all our stuff, towels and stuff that we couldn't bring on. We only brought enough stuff in the Jeep for getting back to Cape Cod. So then we headed out fully packed up, and we got on the road, and we started doing our vlog for different cities and locations, and it's been great.
Yeah, we've had a fantastic time. As many people know out there, we've gone to 24 states.
Correct.
In
a little
this
quick
short
in
time.
4 months, but for reasons, as you've seen in some other videos, we had some places to be.
Family to see.
Right, certain dates for certain occasions.
Right.
So that made it a little faster. Now we're much slower. The next 2 months leading into our 6-month review, and we were moving so much we didn't even get to do it. We blew right past 3-month review, so that's why we're at 4-month review.
Gone.
But in our 6-month review, we'll touch upon it a little bit more.
Right.
But we will be going all in California for the next 2 months, so much slower.
Yes, and the nice thing is we're part of 1,000 Trails, so we have a chance to stay at a lot of cool places.
Like this one?
Right now we're at Wilderness Lake.
Yep.
And
in Menifee, outside Temecula.
Yeah, Menifee, California. So it's not a very well-known place. A lot of people we know locally in the LA area are like, where is that? But we mentioned it's near Temecula, and
we'll be doing an episode of the Temecula and Menifee area.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
So if you ever stay at this 1,000 Trails, we'll take you around this park. They have a lot of amenities, don't they?
Yes, a lot of amenities, and that's been great. We've learned quite a few lessons along the way. One of the ones that we wanted to make sure we told other people that are starting out full-timing is when you plan a budget, you have to add on. So whatever you think you're going to do, you may want to add 10 to 15% onto that budget. We probably needed to add even a little bit more than that just for repairs. The repair budget, which we thought when we got the coach, we knew what kind of condition it was in, but things pop up that aren't expected just from being out on the road and putting miles on it. So those are things that you want to add in. We try not to eat out, so that helps with our food budget. Alcohol isn't, that's what adds on to a lot of people. We've started drinking water at restaurants instead of ordering a soda, because that's almost like buying alcohol.
And another thing we try to do is share a meal when we go out. So
which helps my waistband.
And mine.
And our pocket.
But it definitely cuts the cost down a lot.
And the portions are gigantic.
Right.
So you can easily share. And we make sure that we tip a little bit more just because we don't want the waitress to feel like they're getting, or waiter, to feel like they're getting gypped because we're sharing.
That's true.
We're going to, as we said, we're going to wrap up season 1 at 6 months, and that'll be in California.
That's correct.
And then we'll have a wrap up of the whole season. What other lessons did we learn on the road?
Some of the other lessons, Drew, that we learned were if you have a pet on board, make sure to keep in mind emergency vet issues that can come up.
And where you are.
Right, and that happened to us. So we were in the middle of kind of like nowhere,
Virginia.
Very small town, and it was about 45 minutes to the nearest vet.
But more what I think we learned was not just that it was 45 minutes away, which sometimes can't be helped.
It can happen.
Is that we had to quickly find one. If we had known at the other campgrounds like where it would be, then we wouldn't have been so hectic and frantic about, oh, we got to find something while dealing with the medical emergency that Jimmy was going through.
Right. But it was nice. We did find the person, and he was recovered within a couple days. So
if you're going to go on the road, what we did was before is we made sure that our vet was able to help us even though they were still in Arizona.
Right.
They were able to help us with prescriptions and stuff like that. So we had to visit maybe an emergency vet, but we didn't actually have to go for primary care. That our primary vet for Jimi Hendrix was still the same person, which we're thankful for because Dr. Lee's amazing.
Yes. And that's something else to kind of keep in mind too for planning doctor's appointments, vet appointments, car maintenance, things like that. We were back in Arizona for about a month.
Yep.
So we had a chance to get all those things done. So kind of keep that in mind if you do have a home base, kind of figure out and plan early, make your appointments early for when you know you'll be there. That'll make life so much easier instead of going to that place and going, okay, now let me make an appointment, and it might be really difficult to get in, whether it's a vet or medical.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the thing that people like to not plan, that's great, except for when you need to do certain things.
Right.
So we try to set a plan for a 6-month route, and then we'll adjust it a few months ahead of time and say, okay, I know this is what we planned, but you know what, we're moving too quick. Let's slow down here. Let's spend some more time here. Like we're going to spend a lot of time in California, as I said, and we spent a whole month in the Phoenix area, almost, and even longer in Arizona between the other two stops.
And with us traveling as much as we did, a lot of people felt, or they tell us that, oh, it's kind of like you're still in vacation mode. In a way, yes, that was kind of how it felt sometimes, but not all the time. For us.
I disagree.
Okay.
Yes, we moved around a lot, but sometimes there's cities that, well, what is there to see more than a couple of days?
Right.
So we also were moving quite a bit in the beginning because there wasn't as many thousand trails for us.
Right.
Once we got into an area where there was more thousand trails and we could stay longer, and we're new, so we weren't quite ready for campgrounds and state parks yet. Arizona was our first kind of foray into that, and we found out we would be okay with that if we had to in the future. But first time 40-foot coach with a Jeep. In our first 4 months, we wanted to make sure we were planned and we were budgeted, and that was part of the budgeting, was staying at more parks that we had to pay for, and not so much in the second 6 months of this year.
And one tip we can give, something we learned from the beginning, was especially if it's your very first time driving a coach, learning about a coach, find a campground to stay at, whether it's at the dealership where you got it, where they can help you, or if it's a RV park nearby, please get full hookups to make your life easier. That way you're parked, you can
absolutely
check on
didn't
everything.
Have that.
We didn't do that. That was a mistake we made.
We didn't know, and that's part of not knowing. But again,
we're passing that on to you.
We're passing on to you, but also so we survived.
Right.
So little things that go wrong aren't catastrophic.
It's not the end of the world.
And it's not the end of the world. I mean, we were smart about things, and we prepared for things, and we worked through problems.
Right.
But overall, we were okay.
Right.
I think one of the things that helps us especially was the RV Trip Wizard.
Yes.
Kind of to plan out the different campgrounds and kind of get a look and see what kind of campground levels that we felt comfortable in the beginning. And I think I'll do a video on that. And I'll probably do a whole series of videos coming up in the next few weeks and months of just short little things I learned videos that I'd like to pass on to you.
And certain things we've bought that have helped us along the way.
Yeah.
We'll definitely, tell you where to get those and where to link up to get them as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's good to kind of have an idea of you may not need to buy everything right off the bat. You're going to have to learn some things that you need to add. We definitely have learned that we're going to need to subtract some stuff once we return back to Cape Cod, where we started off.
Right.
We're going to have to drop some stuff off.
Yes.
That we just brought way too much of Jimi Hendrix stuff. We brought way too much of just things that you're like, I don't know if I need it or not. I'd rather have it and not need it. And get rid of it later.
Yeah, like we bought this huge, pop-up tent type thing, like gazebo to sit inside, and maybe we'll still keep that, but we will need to get sandbags to help keep it down, because we realized we're setting
Orlando, it almost blew away.
It's a little windy and almost blew. So we're like, so that's been sitting in the bottom of our coach this whole time. So those are things that you just kind of think about after a full year. If you have some place to go and drop things off, those are things we're going to be thinking about and keep in our mind for when we get back and drop them off and continue on.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I'm a little upset with ourselves, I would say, not for our lack of planning. Knowing what we know now, I wish we had gotten on the road even sooner, because I feel like we wasted years.
Right. We always talked about getting when we had a regular sticks and bricks home, we always talked about getting a second home someplace, and that probably should have been a time when we should have been talking about maybe getting an RV.
Yeah, or like instead. A travel trailer or something.
But you just got to figure out.
You live and you learn.
Right, and the timing was right for us when we did it. So.
I just wish we had done it sooner. That's
all.
It is what it is.
I think we should have videotaped this whole segment just like this.
Up close and
super
personal.
Close. Be like, so.
4 months.
This is our
review.
4-month review.
Up close and personal. 4 months in review.
4 months.
4 month in review.
4 month.
Instant pot, not some pot. Instant pot.
Instapot.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy right here.
I'm telling you.
Trying to correct my grammar.
No, you made it sound like and some pot.
No.
Like marijuana.
Oh my goodness. This is totally turning into a totally different video.
Okay. So
You waiting for the plane?
I am waiting for the plane.
There is a plane overhead.
Yeah, sorry everybody.
Perfect.
Perfect. You happy we're doing this?
Yes. Yeah.
Excited for the next 4 months?
Yes. Are you filming us right now?
Absolutely.
Of course you are.
Gotta get in with the giggles. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone.